Hello everyone, I am Benjamin. I use he, him pronouns. I am 21 and I'm from France. I am a young graduate in environmental science, a master's degree that I had in London, and I am now an entrepreneur trying to build a sustainable venture. I started the EYP in 2014 thanks to EYP France Outreach and Inclusion Strategy. And I followed my path in our organization through several positions. And I eventually joined like board positions for EYP France. I also was representative of EYP France at the Board of National Committees, and I spent the year being governing body associate, which helped me gain valuable knowledge of how the governing body is working and what are the missions and action that I'm willing to take to help the EYP move forward for the next. Yes, I believe our main challenge as network is to move forward, move from sanitary uncertainty, political stability uncertainty also around Europe. And I believe in this difficult context and tough time, we have all our challenges as an organization compiled in our international strategy, the EYP strategy that is upcoming. And so I believe all our efforts should be put around its implementation, as this strategy is not that far from the ones we already had in the past. We're only getting deeper in our in different areas, and so my main ideas for the networks will be to guide national committees to get the grips of this EYP strategy, to build a sustainable governance and sustainable management of our events, and also to get Yes, I believe the pandemic situation really helped us redefine the relationships in our networks between NCs, but also with the GB and the international office. And I believe the future of these relationships needs to grow towards empowerment from the international office and the GB toward the national committees. The national committees already have the keys. They don't need to receive more guidelines. Like I believe they have a lot. We just need to create more space so they can really get the grasp of our organization, and also have enough space to exchange good practices, debate, and really have the keys to analyze what is working in their NCs and how they can improve. I just want to build on the opportunities that the digital formats are holding to us, because we had to adapt a bit in a rush to this format, but keep in mind that it took us like many years to come to what our events are in person, like organizational thinking and stuff. And now we can enter a new period when we can really think of all the opportunities about the digital, and we can already think about multilingualism and reintroducing multilingualism in the EYP, which is a really important point. And I'm sure the digital will enable us to open many doors to come. And regarding in-person events, I'm sure we already have enough experience. Actually, good news is that this is something that we can achieve if we take, like, I can only take my experience, but I was part of the board of EYP France when we decided to get rid of the selections in our network. And I have to say that this is just really good to do so for the networks, and actually it bring us a lot more diversity in our events. And it was just like incredible seeing this process happen. Kind of a downside is that this is a long process, and in EYP France we have been able to do so because mainly we were able to have a long-term outreach strategy, outreach and inclusion strategy. But if the aims and objectives of the strategy are strong enough and ambitious enough, this is something that is achievable, and that EYP France will be more than happy to share knowledge I believe that all the candidates already said the majority of what we need to update and go deeper in the work. But I would like to link it with our past debate and outreach and inclusion is also making sure that all our members feel at ease in our event, they feel welcomed, and they feel that they can belong to our organization. And actually, if we can take a question that we had just before regarding the juries, we can still have juries in our events without selection if we have juries that are focused on feedbacks and personal development, which is, I believe, the path that our organization needs to take to really empower our participants. Thank you. Sustainability is part of our manifesto, and financial sustainability is obviously something really important. I believe all national committees are bearing a lot of pressure on their shoulders around all of this. And for sustainable finances, we need to build long-term, long-lasting partnerships. And having only sources of money coming from one individual event is not really sustainable anymore. So I believe the GB needs to keep working on diversifying sources of fundings. I know some work has been done by the GB, and GB Associate also bring a lot of new ideas. But actually, we need to be way more efficient in our fundraising. And how to do it is to use our innovation capacity and capacity building, and we need to exchange with national committees to have the best practices and try to help answers between themselves. But also we can try to think of all activities that we can develop that can bring us more fundings. I am thinking of multilingualism, for example. That is a new way of finding money, for example, that we can explore, as we have the example with the Ensemble session that is happening between EYP France and EYP Germany, for example. And we can see that we can build long-term new partnerships to bring new sources of. I believe in EYP, we all have common values and common will to empower young people in the whole network. Now, when we look to impact that our events have and our activity have, actually we can see that we have differences from one NC to another. So I think that we should mainly base our debates on data collected by impact assessment of the EYP, and then help NCs to develop coherent strategies to gain more impact. And actually, I think we need to see partnerships as a way to enhance our values and to enhance what our activities are and everything. But partnerships are not a way to redefine our activities and what we are doing. I mean by this that we're still an organization which main goal is to empower young people, and we're not a lobbyist organization, for example. And I would really like to stress this in the partnership that we can build in the future. And we need to align impact goal with partnership guidelines to develop sustainable partnerships and to enable every NCs to. Regarding governance, we need to keep in mind that we are establishing EYP strategy. This year, we had great opportunity to receive a lot of inputs from our members. So actually, our thinking of the governance is almost like something that we can take. We need to finalize the strategy, of course, but actually we need to put all our efforts in the implementation. Because actually, even like this year, I don't know for the one who were looking at it, but actually when you look at this our past strategy, we can see that we have some of our aims that we didn't even touch upon in the 5 years. And it's sometimes because we have a lot of issues coming up, and in the BNCs we're discussing a lot of things. But for the next strategy, I really hope that we will stick to the pillars that we established and all the issues that they are raising already. And that we will be able to really support the national committees in adopting the strategy for themselves and applying the strategy in their national committees, and really take ownership of this strategy. This is really the goal. And to 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 reach this goal, I really intend to have support toward NCs, and a lot of things were stated, and I fully agree with them. But I will also see the creation of, for example, weekends dedicated, or training or coaching dedicated to the EYP strategy implementation within NCs, and engage discussion with NCs in their implementation of the strategy, and how we can achieve better. Yes, thank you, everyone. It was really nice having the chance to chat with all the candidates about all the issues for networks. As I stated in my manifesto, most important for me is to help the EYP to move forward. And I believe all the issues we tackled tonight are going in this direction, and I'm really happy. And I would like to be the one implementing these changes for our networks based on our EYP strategy. And I believe the real question is, who do you want to see leading this change? And actually, I believe I have the necessary experience of NCs, BNC, and GB functioning and way of working, and I will be more than happy to lead this change